What's going on, everybody? It is Juan from Raven Drone Solutions here with another video. In today's video, I want to talk to you about what do you do when you find drone pilots on the field that are doing they're unlicensed and they're doing commercial work, right? Now, this is something that I've seen many times, usually in terms of video production, but also inspections and stuff like that, right? So let me explain. There's a couple times where I went to events here in the city of Miami, with the city of Miami, with the police and stuff like that. And, you know, I saw a guy that's taking pictures of the event, and he was flying a drone. Well, apart from the fact that he was flying his drone in a way that you shouldn't fly it, it's also the fact that I can tell he was flying without a license. There's another guy, actually this past weekend, similar events, another guy. And same thing, he was taking pictures of the event. Now, he wasn't flying in a way he shouldn't have been flying. As a matter of fact, he wasn't even able to take off because he didn't have authorization. But I asked him, I was like, "Are you licensed?" And he's like, "Well, no, I'm not. Do you need a license?" And he's not the only one. Today actually, I was at a cell tower site, and when I arrived, I saw there were people already there, and one guy was taking pictures with a drone. Now, he wasn't doing what I would call a drone inspection. Like, that's what I do. But this guy, he was flying his drone. He was taking pictures of the connectors and stuff like that, so he wouldn't have to go up and climb the tower, which I understand. But I asked him, "Are you licensed?" And he's like, "No, I don't know you need a license for this kind of stuff." So one thing that I see a lot on social media is you have guys that, they ask, well, how do you report these people? Or, what's the best way to go about it? And to be quite frank with you guys, I don't like to be a narc. I don't like to be a Karen. I don't like to be the guy that's with the rule book saying, hey, you got to be doing this. And, to be the person that's, calling the FAA or something, because quite frankly, a lot of times the FAA won't do anything anyway. They're swamped with all kinds of stuff as well. So really, a lot of times what you can do is not much. For me, the way I always put it is just educate people. The last two guys that I talked about, which they confirmed with me that they didn't have a license, I just simply told them what the consequences might be. I wasn't trying to be, and I wasn't even trying to be mean about it. I just simply told them, guys, here's the thing. If you're going to do any work that is paid, you need to have a license. Okay, and even if you're able to get away with it 1,000,001 times, it's that one time that you don't get away with it that can cost you. And I told them, look, thing is, if somebody finds out and they sue you, I mean, basically that's fines right there that you got to deal with. And it's not just fines for you, but it could also be fines for the company that hired you.
Onto Palmetto Park Road.
So the main thing I tell people is, look, just this is what you have to do to get the license. If you want, and I tell people, look, if you want me to send you some study material so you know what you're doing, I'll send it to you, no problem. I won't ask anything for it. But the bottom line is, you need to be licensed. Because obviously it makes it harder for us to compete, because now you got all these unlicensed pilots doing work, and especially here in South Florida, a lot of people don't pay any attention to even driving laws.
Take the exit, then keep left onto West Palmetto Park.
So if they don't pay attention to the traffic laws, what makes you think they're going to pay attention to anything regarding drones? I mean, they're not. And especially because a lot of people here
Use the left 2 lanes to keep left.
Especially because
West
a lot of
Palmetto
people here
Park
don't
Road.
speak English. Even less of a reason for them to know, because they have no idea. As a matter of fact, the guy that I spoke to today
then turn left onto West Palmetto
didn't speak any English. He was this Colombian guy, and he was like, "Yeah, look, I'm sorry, I don't speak any English."
Use the left 2 lanes to turn onto West Palmetto Park Road.
So I mean, look, that's just something that you have to deal with. Unfortunately, it's not always gonna be nefarious. So a lot of times people, they just don't know. Some people are nefarious about it, and they just flat out, they just flaunt the rules, and they don't care who they hurt. But there's nothing you can really do about that. For me, what I always do is just I inform people, and I move on about my day. Okay, if they decide to take my advice, cool. If they don't, well, that's on them. I told them that, look, this is what the rules are. I'm not going to say anything, but I just want to let you know that if something happens, it could come down very badly on you, and you're better off just having a license, even if you think you don't need it. It's better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. I mean, I've never had anybody ask me for my license. I've never had anybody question me, primarily also because of the fact that I'm always in some kind of uniform, and people can see that I'm a drone pilot, and I make it very widely known that I'm flying in the area. But regardless of all that, I still have my license with me at all times. And because to me, I'm not going to sacrifice my company, and I'm not going to sacrifice the possible fines just simply for not having the license on hand. I mean, that's just dumb. So the way I see it, it's just better to get the license. I understand that some people, they find the laws a little bit ambiguous. It can be interpreted different ways. Believe it or not, there's people that interpret laws, like even some of the most, like, I would say undebatable ones, the most obvious ones. You have people that actually debate the way it's interpreted, which makes no sense to me. But you see this. I even saw one guy, this is how crazy Facebook is. I put a picture of one guy that he was flying directly over people's heads. I'm talking like 4 or 5 feet above people's heads with a Mavic 3. And people are like, some guys are like, oh, but that's safe. I'm like, how is that safe? Like, oh, because, what's the problem? You're just flying. I'm like, yeah, and you're sustained there. You're not moving. And if something happens, it can fall and hit somebody. Some people are just dumb like that, and they're like, oh, well, that's not unsafe, whatever. Anyway, I'm not going to get into that because, quite frankly, a lot of the conversations you see on social media are not very constructive. But, yeah, it's just a lot of times you really can't do anything about it. All you can do is educate people. Just let them know, hey, listen, it's just better if you get your license. At the end of the day, it's on them. That's all I got to say. I've ran into this 1,000,001 times here down in Miami because a lot of people just flat out don't care. A lot of people are getting paid under the table, or not even under the table. They're getting paid, but then you look at them, you're like, dude, you're not licensed, obviously. And they're like, no, I'm not licensed. I'm like, well, you probably should. No, I'm not probably. You definitely should if you're getting paid. But guys, at the end of the day, there's nothing you can do about that. Okay, people are going to do whatever they want, regardless. And all you can do is just, as long as you're doing the right thing, you're following the rules. If they get in trouble, let them get in trouble. That's on them. It's a fine that they have to pay, not you. So that's all I got to say about that. There's nothing really much to it apart from the fact that just mind your own business is the main thing I got to say. And if you can educate people, educate them. But at the end of the day, just turn the other cheek because there's really nothing you can do about it. I would never suggest being a Karen or a narc about it. Just leave people alone, and they'll deal with the consequences on their own. Some people, they hurt the industry like that, but there's really nothing you can do about it. If you want to go and report people, that's on you, but I don't really think it's going to amount to much, to be quite frank with you. So that's all I really got to say about that. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Hit me one of these, subscribe. Has anybody ever dealt with anything similar to this? And if you have, how did you deal with it? I would really love to know. Do you disagree with what I'm saying? And if you do, why? Or why do you agree? Or is there anything else that you would suggest? All right, guys, that is it for today.